Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for a live talk with Will and Marwaan from AECOM. For those of you that don't know, it's a global organisation comprising around nearly 50,000 experienced planners, designers, engineers, scientists, programme and construction managers and other professionals, all working on projects spanning transportation, buildings, water, new energy and the environment. It's great to see so many people joining us today, so thank you. And we're here to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. So Will and Marwaan will talk about their career paths into engineering via an apprenticeship route. And you'll hear how they discovered the AECOM apprenticeship programme, why they choose an acoustic apprenticeship, and they'll also give you some good advice on what you should include in an application. Please feel free to put any questions into the chat and we'll ask them at the end of the talk. So that's enough of me. I will hand you over to Will. Good morning, Will.
Good morning. So my name's William and my colleague Marwaan today. We're both at part-time acoustic apprenticeships and we are currently studying at Southbank University and we're working with AECOM and we're the first cohort of apprentices. And I'll hand over to Marwaan, let him introduce himself.
Good morning, guys. My name is Marwaan Al-Halimi. As Will said, we work with AECOM full-time, part-time students at Southbank, and we are the first cohort for the Acoustics Apprenticeship. Next slide, please. So this is my journey to the apprenticeship. I'll discuss what I studied for GCSEs, A-levels, and how my application process went. Next slide. So for GCSEs, I studied the typical sciences, so that's biology, chemistry, and physics. I also studied maths and computer science. I believe that these 5 subjects are quite important for anyone that is considering going into any engineering route. So for my A-levels, I studied AS chemistry for a year. That helped me with physics, which I studied full-time, and mathematics. I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that maths and physics are very important for, again, anyone that wants to study engineering, and especially for an apprentice. Like, it gives you like a step up to the professional world. Next slide.
And I'll go back to me quickly. So I also did GCSEs, same as everyone else. And I did maths and physics as well, because I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. I knew I was to do something maths related. That's why I picked those 2 subjects, and I also did economics. And then different from Marwaan, I actually did a university. I did computer science. I wasn't really enjoying it, so I thought, okay, let me change up a little bit, do something a bit different. So I actually left, and I was doing odd jobs such as working in a garage, etc. And then I managed to get onto acoustics apprenticeship. And I kept applying to lots and lots of different jobs, and managed to successfully land this one, and I'm doing good so far. So I'll just outline to you quickly. So what is an apprenticeship? So essentially, apprenticeship's a paid job where the employee learns and gains valuable experiences alongside on-the-job training. This will vary, of course, from job to job. So you usually spend at least 20% of your working hours completing classroom-based learning with a college, university, or training provider, at least a nationally recognised qualification, unless you're doing like a traineeship instead. Now, it's a great paid work opportunity for people over the age of 16 in England. You're early in your career, unsure what to do, for example. You're looking to upskill in your current job, you change to something different. You're not in full-time education. So what the apprentice earns will depend on the industry, location, and level of apprenticeship they choose. So I believe it goes from level 4 to 6. So I think level 4 would just be your standard qualification, and then level 6 for your degree level. And so if you're between the ages of 16 and 18, you'll get the apprentice rate. However, if you're 19 and over, then you'll be paid the minimum wage rate. So what is the work schedule like for a normal apprentice? So as an acoustics apprentice, you'll be working 4 days a week in the office and you have 1 day at university. Sometimes you have to go out on different sites, for example, in various locations, so you won't be forced just to stay in the office the entire week. This is good because it gives you variety. You'll also be given the chance to use different software such as AutoCAD and CADNA. These allow you to essentially model and draw construction projects, as its design software allows you to edit both 2D and 3D drawings more easily than you would by hand. For example, in the past, you just work on paper mainly. You have to draw architectural drawings, which can make it more complicated if you want to make changes, for example. However, I think the most beneficial thing for me personally is when you're in the office, you're able to talk to colleagues around me and question them when you're unsure of different things. Whereas if you're at university and you're just looking at the book the entire time, you wouldn't be able to do that, of course. So why did I choose to do the apprenticeship? I think mainly the hands-on experience. Since you'll be working as part of a team, experienced professionals for the majority of your apprenticeship, you have the opportunity to expand your skill set and benefit from hands-on work with other people around you. Best of all, you'll be able to learn from your colleagues on a day-to-day basis, which helps you just develop as a person. You also benefit from support systems and learning aids, which are different with whoever company you're working for. But with apprenticeships, they offer a much higher level of support than regular jobs, and your employers will be there to help you and guide you through your career and help you develop. They give you all the support you need to progress, so it's answering role-related questions or providing access to useful resources to aid your studies. And one of the best things is you actually get paid to learn, which is, I think, very good reason to get enrolled on an apprenticeship. So they offer you the opportunity to get paid. You earn basic salary while you gain invaluable experience and expert knowledge that set you apart for future career success, which is very different to university, where you just get a loan which you have to pay back over time. And also, I think it'll help you a lot because it depends on your personal life, but if you just want a bit of money on the side, say you want to buy a car or go on holiday or do something with your friends, it just gives you the chance to do that. Now, it'll give you industry recognized qualifications. So during your apprenticeship, you'll gain, for example, if you're doing level 6, then you'll get a degree, for example, civil engineering degree, or if you want to go into accountancy or economics, whatever degree you choose, it's available for you at the time. And then, of course, you'll be able to carry that as well as your experience into a future job if you wanted to change and do something different. And then it just helps you get adjusted to the work life. So instead of going from uni and you just leave and just been studying the whole time, you're like, oh, I want to take a break. I don't feel like going in. Just gets you used to it. And because you have the sort of 20% of your time you'll be studying and then 80% you'll be working. So instead of you're at university and you're forced to just stare at the book and study the entire time, which I feel like for me personally, I would find that more difficult. So it just helps to break up your week a little bit. So why would you want to work with AECOM? Well, I think one of the main reasons is if you might find it difficult and you're looking for your first job, it just helps with whatever career you choose to help get your foot in the door. Now with AECOM specifically, as it's the world's trusted infrastructure consulting firm, partnering with different clients around the world to help solve complex challenges and build legacies for generations to come. So we design, build, finance, and operate infrastructure governance for different assets for various companies or clients. It's involved with over 150 countries as a fully integrated firm, connect knowledge and experience across a global network of experts, which I think as you work in an office, you talk to different clients, it helps you because you get to question them, ask them, and sometimes resolve any conflicts you have with them. If there's something you don't agree with, then you can discuss it with them. So when you're joining with AECOM, you become part of a company that's always looking forward to the future. and that you'll be involved in some of the latest and cutting edge projects, which I think my colleague will talk to you a bit more about later. Now, as it's a future-looking, forward-thinking company, it's a well-rounded culture of inclusion, diversity, helps all different kinds of employees, good core values, and it helps you to just make the world a better place in general. So back to apprenticeships, how did I find out about it? Well, I think the easiest way now is just to look on the internet, such as there you can see the AECOM website and the government website. Now the AECOM website is good because it specifically allows you to search for apprenticeships, and you can search for different genres from engineering or consultancy, and it'll give you a list of all the different ones that are available in that time period. And then you just have to submit CV, cover letter, a bit about why you want the job, and then hopefully you'll land yourself a successful interview. There are also other websites available, such as Indeed, just general job sites. Not Going to Uni is another good one. And then, of course, if you're unable to find something online or you're stuck, you just don't know what to do, then you can attend apprenticeship events or job weeks, which if you go online, different companies, they'll do it at different times. So you just have to do a bit of research and find out about it. I think I'll just hand you over to Marwaan. He's going to give you a few tips about your interview.
So some of these tips, like I went through them. So for example, when you're preparing for your interview, make sure you can demonstrate yourself and why you want the apprenticeship. So be enthusiastic and have background knowledge about, not necessarily like in-depth knowledge, but basic knowledge about the specific job that you're applying for. So sometimes they might ask, like, why are you interested in this apprenticeship or in this general sector of the job? What are your relevant skills and experiences, and what are your long-term ambitions? Have examples prepared of times when you have shown strong teamwork, because I would say, as you're an apprentice, you have to work with different types of project managers or consultants or engineering leads, and they're not on the same level as you, like they're more advanced. So you kind of have to step up and discuss. You have to deliver what you're asking for example, so they can understand your needs. Also, this is a very important tip that I think everyone should do so they can have a successful application, is on the interview day, come prepared with some insightful questions so you can ask the hiring manager at the end. This enables you to show that you're enthusiastic again, and shows that you know what you're talking about. You're not just coming to the interview just to do the interview. You're coming to do the interview because you want to land the job. William?
Sounds good. I think we just have a short video to show you, just a couple minutes long.
What?
Hi, I'm Kim. I work in the STEM role. I'm going to show you 3 items that I use at work and give you some clues about what I do every day to see if you can guess what my job is. 1. I use this to measure something that's really important to my job, but I can't tell you what it's called yet because that would make it too easy. Take a close look, especially at this bit, and see if you can guess what it measures. 2. This is a calibrator. I use it to make sure my equipment's working correctly. This one fits on object number 1 here. There's an additional clue. If I switch it on, it makes a sound. 3. These are hearing protectors. They come in a variety of forms, but these ones are attached to a safety helmet. I use these to protect my hearing by putting them on like this When I visit places, they're too loud. Using Object 1, we do measurements in a variety of locations. Sometimes this could be inside. At other times this could be outside. A lot of the time I work in an office using specialist modelling software to make predictions. Sometimes, like in this example, I could be looking at roads. But on another day, I could be looking at buildings, like in this example. Have you managed to work out yet what I'm trying to predict? Take a guess now, and we'll see if you were right. This is actually a sound level meter, and I use it to measure, yep, you guessed it, sound. In the first modelling example, I was using the software to predict changes in sound level due to a new road design. In the second modelling example, I was using the software to predict how well people will be able to hear in a building. So, what's my job? I'm an acoustic consultant and I work at a company called AECOM. We're an engineering consultancy and we make things work. For acoustics, this means looking at sound and vibration. When you're designing things, you need to make sure that they're not too loud and they're not too quiet. If things are too noisy, it can be harmful to health, but it's also just really annoying. Sometimes it's even against the law for things to be too loud. If things are too quiet, sometimes this can be dangerous if you need to hear them to stay safe. For example, electric vehicles. Sometimes we might need to design a building so that you can hear really well, like in an opera house. So what if you want to be like me? If you already know that you want to be an acoustic consultant, you can take STEM A-levels with a special degree in acoustic engineering at university. If you're not quite sure, you can take any STEM-related degree, like maths, physics or engineering, then take a master's in acoustics at a later date, or the IOA's diploma in acoustics and noise control. You might be able to do this by distance learning once you already have a job, which is what I did. If the degree route's not for you, and it isn't for everyone, you can take a level 4 apprenticeship to become an acoustic technician, which could lead to a consultant's role with experience. Many companies offer summer placements, so if you still can't decide, this is a great way to get experience and see what the job's like. You don't have to decide now, just stick with STEM and see where it takes you.
Okay, yeah. Now back to Marwaan.
So I'll quickly discuss the day in the life of an acoustic apprentice. So our day starts on a Monday where we have university release. In university we have 3 different subjects, so that's fundamentals of acoustics or lab work, engineering mathematics and construction practices. So in fundamentals of acoustics we basically learn the basics of audio engineering and acoustics. So a simple example could be like how waves propagate in a certain space. In the lab we also focus on how to use sound level meters, which is this device that you can see on the right hand side of the screen. And then we also learn how to analyze data from these meters. Engineering mathematics is more or less A-level maths. An example of a topic could be adding or subtracting fractions, rearranging equations to more difficult topics like differentiation and integration. But all of these topics have a harder twist to it. And in construction practice, we learn the economics and environmental benefits and risks that come with construction, learn different software like AutoCAD and Revit, and communication skills. Next slide. And so the rest of the week, Tuesday to Friday, we work on different projects like Bank Underground Station Expansion, Thames Tideway project, and HS2 or High Speed Rail 2. My role requires me to speak to different types of project managers or project leads about site activities, sound exceedances, and I have to submit different types of reports within a certain deadline. And all of these reports have different templates. So one report can take maybe a day, one report can take a couple of hours. Next slide. So these are an example of the different reports I've worked on or projects. So Battersea Power Station, HS2, Bank, and Thames Tideway. Next slide. So this chart is the progression chart. So at the moment, me and William are basically at the bottom of the chart, but it's pretty easy to, you know, jump to the next level. For example, we have 2 years to go from acoustic apprentices to technicians, and then as you gain more experience and so you have longer time, you can either, if you want, you can go into acoustic junior consultancy. Next slide. And as part of the apprenticeship, you also get enrolled into the Institute of Acoustics. This is a great opportunity for anyone that's passionate in acoustics. You get to access the latest developments in acoustics. So you have different acoustics consultants discuss what type of projects they've been working on and any difficulties they've had whilst working. It's also an easy route into achieving a chartered engineering status, as the institute is recognized internationally, and it also looks good on your CV.
Okay.
Next. You don't have any questions?
Thanks very much, guys. That was really, really a great talk, and we appreciate you giving up your time to talk to us today. I'm going to hand you over to Sophie because she's got a few questions for you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. So our first question is, so what's the most interesting site you've been to?
Marwan, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. For me, it would be Battersea Power Station. It's a very historic site in the UK. It was a power station, I think, during the Industrial Revolution. So that's a little bit of history. And just the transformation from being a power station to, you know, the main office, for example, for Apple. You have luxury retail park, and you have flats alongside it. It's just, you know, the way they transformed a pretty much dead area to one of the now most attractive areas in London is pretty cool.
Thank you, Marwan. Okay, so I've got another question that's come through. Did you always want to work in acoustics?
Do you want to answer that, or should I answer it?
You can go first. I'll answer afterwards.
I think when I was younger, honestly, I was just in school, just come out recently. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So that's why I was just trying out different areas, for example. That's why I was doing computer science initially at university. But then I was just sitting there staring at a blank screen, just writing lines and lines of code. I was just thinking, this is not for me. That's why I wanted to change, do something different. Then after that, actually, I went and worked in the garage for a little bit. And then I enjoyed it. But firstly, I wanted to do something that's a bit more challenging. And that's why I decided to change. And I think when I was younger, I also did work experience in construction, doing surveying type of work. So that's what got me interested in the construction industry in general. And then after that, that's how I started applying for jobs. And I saw acoustics. And as I also like to play the guitar in my own time, that's what interested me in learning about sound.
Thank you. That's really interesting to know. It really goes to show you don't have to know what you want to do when you're 16 or 18 or whatever, that you could go anywhere with your qualifications. Right. Well, let me have a look at another question. So we've got a question that's come through. Oh, are you in contact with all your other apprentices?
Yeah, we are in contact with that. So we have a graduate, early careers and graduate group where sometimes we meet in different locations around the UK, and we just have team building exercises, which is something AECOM offers, which is pretty cool, because I've realized some firms don't offer this, so it allows you to, you know, interact with different apprentices from a different profession. So that can be the environmental services, civil engineering. It allows you to compare your job with their job, and you also learn different skill sets from them.
Great, thank you. So this is for iView, I guess. What's your favourite part of the day?
Marwaan?
I'd say lunch, you know, because you get to meet your different colleagues from different offices.
Yeah, I feel
What
like
about
as
you,
well
William?
as just, yeah, I'd say lunch, but I feel like the lunch part, it's not just about going and eating, which is obviously nice, but because when you're sat in the office, then maybe just focused at your desk, you don't really talk to people. When you go and have lunch, you actually get to talk to other apprentices or your colleagues around you, or your manager, for example. You want to discuss something with them, or just ask them questions in general about your work. It's quite helpful.
So would you say it's quite a sociable profession to be in?
Yeah, I would think it is. And also, if you go on to site, like a construction site, where you have to do a noise survey or something like that, I feel like it's not just time in a day, but I feel like that'll be the time in the week that I'd actually enjoy the most, when you're out the office and you get to see the project you're actually working on and the reports you're doing. That's what interests me.
Right, I think we've got time for one or two more. So let me have a look. What else have we got? How many hours do you have to study per week?
So the normal uni day is 8 hours. That's because we get paid for those 8 hours, so we kind of have to treat it as a normal working day, but you're studying. And you have, of course, you have time to revise during work. For example, if we have exams or any coursework that we have to do, we're allowed to book time to revision.
Okay. And so I've got one more question, I think, coming through. So this is probably to Marwaan. Do you think you've missed out on the university experience?
That's a good question. I've always wanted to do an apprenticeship, because I've never really understood how you can spend 3 years of your life studying and then graduating and not finding a job, for example, or having thousands of pounds in debt to the student loan company. We do have the opportunity to experience the uni life. Like we have field trips, for example, where you go to these trips with different apprentices or different, like your university classmates, for example. So you can, of course, experience the uni life, but I wouldn't say you're able to do that every single day. It's more or less on a Monday, or if you have a field trip, for example. But for me personally, I don't think I'm missing out on the uni life, because I'm gaining the experience from early on, which will help me in my future. I don't think the uni life would help me in my future.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Sophie. So there are other questions in there, but I'm just going to finish up very quickly. Question to both of you, if you can answer quite quickly. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? We'll do that to Marwaan first of all, and then we'll ask Will.
In 5 years, hopefully, I'll be either a junior consultant or a consultant with AECOM as an acoustic consultant, of course. Yeah, that's that's what I strive to achieve within the next 5 years.
Well, that's great. You've got something to aim for. And Will?
Yeah, I see myself, if I'm still doing as principal consultant or senior consultant, even if I'm lucky, and then I'd like to go into engineering consultancy, maybe learn a bit about construction law, learn that side of it, how it relates in with acoustics, maybe something along those lines.
No, but that's good. You've got a vision. So yeah, it's been great. It's been really good listening to you guys. We hope our audience is more aware of what interesting things you can get up to as an apprentice. And so we just wanted to let everyone know that we have got more talks taking place this week for apprenticeship from people like Will and Marwaan talking about their own experiences. So thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of Apprenticeship Week. Thanks everyone. Bye.
It's okay. Thank you.